Hello, everybody, and welcome back. We are doing the next episode of Card of the Week for Emissaries of Light, and this time we have Luso. So, obviously, we talked about it, but I wasn't able to guess Luso for this one. So, let's get into this card. Obviously, the art is very nice. It's not new art, but I'm always happy with this Tactics old art. We have Kageyama here talking to us about how this legend, this is the new fire legend for the new set, has a lot of effects, and that the set is coming out on the April 15th. If you guys haven't told your local game shop about this yet, there was an update. Remember, it was scheduled to come out like towards the end of March, but now it's April 15th, and pre-release should be 7 days before that. That's the 8th-ish, somewhere along those lines, 8th or 9th, that weekend. So just throwing that out there. At the beginning of the attack phase, during each of your turns, if you have received 5 points of damage or less, shuffle your deck. Then reveal the top card of your deck. If it's a fire character, you may play it onto the field. And at 6 damage, at the beginning of the attack phase, during each of your turns, you may search for one fire character and play it onto the field. Now, the effects are both really good, right? This first one is very similar to the 5-drop Golbez, water Golbez that we have. And I say similar, right, because there are some big differences. First, you have to shuffle your deck, then reveal, and lets you play any fire character. There's no stipulations on cost other than that it's a fire character, right? So your forwards, monsters, or backups. But the shuffle deck is nice, right? Because you're able to kind of just, if you had been sending stuff to the bottom during that turn, you can, fix things up, maybe. I don't like the idea of maybe being able to stack here with something like that, but we'll talk about that. Like, that's probably going to be on my cons list. His stats are a little weird though, right? He's a 6-drop FFTCG character with 5k power. The rest of the article goes on to talk, Kageyama goes and says that there isn't really, like, his searchers are State of Clan Gully and Gabranth, right? But like, those are off color, especially if you want to take advantage of the maximum fire stuff. And that you'd probably see him paired with cards like, Ifrit, Lord of the Inferno, Kojin, Tenzen, Saiyan, Gotetsu, and stuff like this to bring out and like filter. Best ways to utilize him. And just that his auto abilities obviously don't coincide, right? So like, once you're at 6 points of damage, the first one is gone. And that's just it, right? So, right off the bat, he does seem like a little underpowered for a 6-drop legendary, but he does have some potential. And I'm not saying he's going to be like a big combo card or like win you games, right? But he does have the potential to come back and bring you back from a real bad situation, right? So my main thing was thinking that like he has he's good against aggro decks. Like, if you put this card in your deck, not only do you set yourself up for, you play your deck like normal, right? I'm assuming it's going to be mono fire, probably control, or like maybe your deck does have a combo, right? And you don't get there, but you're at 6 damage and you're kind of in like that final need to draw or win for, draw the right card for the win, but you have this already in there. This might help you out. The other problem is to the matchups, right? Like, anything that's playing Amaterasu or Brynhilde is going to be troublesome. So I put some cards here to kind of think about what's the best way to like utilize him or whatever. And this list anybody could have come up with, right? So I was really thinking stuff like Terra and General Leo, and in a situation where you're, need to secure your victory or get the piece, like your Terra will bring you out and get you the summons. If you already have summons in your hand, then this is really good too, right? Because you'll be able to cast your way through breaking all your opponent's forwards and kind of keep yourself in the game. General Leo is if you're pushing into winning and you have already a bunch of forwards and you don't, like, and your opponent has full grip and a bunch of stuff, and they don't Amaterasu it. Once General Leo hits the field, that's it. The rest of their hand is probably dead. Zande is the idea of like trying to survive. So is Cloud. He comes in, can't attack obviously, right? Because he doesn't have haste. But if he's big, he's a big enough body, and he has a decent enough effect to kind of keep you alive the next turn, right? So which means this could stall you. Him and Cloud could stall you enough to put you to get this effect again next turn, assuming Luso survives, right? Other things might be Ignacio also. Um, if you're in a decent position where you need to get more value and catch up to the rest of the game, Ignacio is going to be there for you. I put some of these here too, like just to secure stuff, or maybe like it's the same scenario, right? Like you kind of want to tempo into keeping Luso around for a few more turns, or if you have like another Luso in your hand and like he dies, and you're like, all right, I'm going to be able to do this again, but let me keep, whittling at my opponent's hand and like his resources, right? That's what Laswell, Ifrit, and like Gesho do. Remember, they're fire characters, right? So as long as they share the attribute, you should be able to bring them in. And then Rain is a good one too, right? Rain is like also that I have just enough forwards to beat you now, but I need one more, right? Him and Alua, but I didn't put Alua because she's just like a one drop, right? We want value is the main idea. Next is Cloud, and Cloud's a weird one, right? Too. So you'd have to control the job Avalanche operative forward, right? And that's kind of hard, but all in all, the value would be there, right? If you had one, if you had to bear it out, and I'm thinking like in a weird scenario where you need to recover from the brink. Not that Avalanche needs anything like this, but this is still a really good play. You'd be able to bring out another one and then give everyone haste, all your forwards haste, right? So if you had other fire cards and stuff. Braska's another one that kind of fits in there with Emperor and Cloud. He's just no one's going to target him. He's big enough to deal his own, to handle himself, and, it's Braska, right? We already like have problems with this card already. Bringing him out from the deck for free is just like absurd. Cyan, same thing. He's going to come in, deal some damage, and then at 5 damage, since you're at 6, remember, I was also looking at cards that have 6 damage. Well, he also mentioned Cyan in the article, but you're going to be doing a lot of damage when the Cyan comes in. So, same thing with the Zande, right? If you have enough of those weaker forwards, when Zande enters, choose up to a fire forward of cost 1 and a fire forward of cost 3 in your break zone, and play them off the field, and at 5 damage, choose a forward of 2. So that's 3 extra forwards, right? It's such good value, right? But you'd have to have those obviously in the deck. At that point, it really depends what kind of game you were playing, right? If you were fighting against aggro or if you were fighting tempo, these plays might make more sense. And then again, just an off situation where you put like her into it, gets you the summon that you need to clear the board, cast the summon that you need, right? Just the summon that like buffs it big enough to get past your opponent's one card. I don't know. These are the ones. And then I also thought, like, what's the best way to build a deck around this? I'm thinking maybe we just go pure, like, cards that benefit or hit us for damage, right? Like, it's another version of Fire where you're hitting yourself for points of damage to break stuff. You're hitting, when it deals you damage, deals you damage, and at 3 damage, gains brave and cannot be dulled by your opponent's forward, so decent card. Same thing with this one. And then you have stuff like Jet and Bahamut, right? Pairs well, like, if you're really just trying to rack up the damage to yourself, you play lots of these EX bursts. And then you can cheat in cards like Jet, as long as you're... and Jet's not a bad card to play, right? When he enters, he costs 1, right? Yeah, if you receive 4 points of damage or more, the cost of playing Jet is reduced by 4, so he's 1 drop. When Jet enters field, if you have at least 2 points of damage more than your opponent, Jet deals your opponent damage. So he's already, like, paying for himself, right? I don't know. Those were just some of the quick thoughts. Remember, that's what this is. Like, I read this article, I read it, and then I gathered all my thoughts and brought this for you guys. So pros, lots of value, right? Lots of potential value. The reshuffle of the deck, I told you, could be nice if you know your numbers and you're putting too many of certain things to the bottom. Will probably be cheap to pick up early as far as value on cards. So if you don't, I just obviously maybe recommend getting the foil or whatever versions of this card early. And then all in all has real good comeback potential. We just went through a couple of ways and a couple of thought processes of how to use the card and in what scenarios you would be using his effect or where you're going with that, right? Obviously, cons are Brynhilde target and definitely not Amaterasu safe. Remember, effects that say at the start of a certain phase, those are auto abilities. And then no color efficiency way to search him. We're not gonna try to say he's the worst card in the game, but we don't know what other fire cards are coming from this set. We don't know how much more value he can bring to us. As far as FFTA2 goes, I don't. The problem with FFTA2 has always been that they're everywhere, right? They've been in every color, and it doesn't really. It's really hard to, I don't know, to just build that, right? Yeah, they're literally scattered between fire, ice, wind, earth, lightning, and water. It's just, it has every color, and the searcher is lightning. So I don't know. Those are my thoughts, guys. Let me know what you think. I think this one's probably had the worst feedback so far, but it's nothing we're not used to, right? We usually see these, and then we're always surprised when they come out, right? So the next spoiler, Tim is coming, I believe, yeah, and he's coming next week with someone who's lurking in a library. My only guess is Tyro, right? I believe Tyro record, or another. I don't know if there's any more record keeper cards, but Tyro, I believe, is your librarian. He sits on top of books and he keeps track of them. So I don't know if we're getting a new Tyro or what, but that's the only thought I had. So put your guesses in the comments and we'll talk about it. Thanks for watching, guys. Have a good one.